This could be any song, couldn't it? I feel a song. It's a victorious, happy and glorious new spring. I feel a song, come on. It's a melody full of the laughter of children out after the rain. You'll hear a tuneful story ringing through ya, love and glory, hallelujah. And now that my troubles are gone, let those heavenly drums go on drumming, 'cause I feel a song coming on. You'll hear a tuneful story ringing through ya, love and glory, hallelujah. And now that my troubles are gone, let those heavenly drums go on drumming, 'cause I feel a song, I feel a song, I feel a song coming on.
I must say, what a powerful performance. Hello, I'm Elke, and I'm your host of the Women's Network. Today we have a terrific show. You just saw her, our guest, Julie Sheppard. She is the talk of the town. She's a singer, an actress, and I came by Julie. I went to a club the other night, and there she was, belting out those songs that Judy Garland used to sing, and I said, this is it, I have to have her on my show. So with that in mind, here she is, Miss Julie Sheppard. Hi, Julie.
How are you?
What an entrance. That was terrific.
I just love when people can watch a clip like that and then applaud. It amazes me every time, but I love it.
Well, it's so powerful. I mean, you have such a presentation. When I saw you that evening, I said, my God. I mean, first of all, you walked out there in that coat and you threw your shoulders around a little bit, and the entrance was just so perfect, perfect. Just, I couldn't have expected anything better, and then
and that's it. You didn't expect it. That's why we planned it that way. It's a complete surprise. I think at the top of my show, the premise being that Judy Garland wanders into a club one night and happens to end up on stage by accident is surprising to a lot of people. They expect me in my show to make some kind of a proper entrance as if I was doing a concert, but that's not the idea at all. Most people come expecting a concert and get something else quite different indeed,
Exactly.
and are very surprised and elated by it because it involves the audience.
Right.
And people walk out just like you with a great big smile on their face that shows they enjoyed themselves.
Right. I mean, I remember when you walked in, I mean, it really was, who is that, first of all? You totally forgot who you were. I mean, you forgot why you came there. And there was somebody in the audience, and then getting on stage. And, oh, that's right, I was supposed to be seeing a Judy Garland performance. And I don't know, it kind of threw you somehow. It was very, very interesting, because usually you say, okay, I'm here, like you said, to see Judy Garland, Judy Garland performance, and now you're waiting for it. But anyway, it was very powerful.
People know that now because the title of the show is Judy Garland, A Night in the Life. But when I first originated it in New York about 12 years ago, the title of the show was Julie, 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 which was a takeoff on her Carnegie Hall poster, which was Judy, Judy, Judy.
Right.
And you didn't really know what the show was going to be about when you went.
Right.
Just that I was performing it and all my friends came, and then they were really surprised to see that I finally decided to do out and out Judy, because I kept away from it for years.
Why was that? Were you not?
Well, I think when an actress is young and also sings in New York and is trying to break into a Broadway show, that you want to be identified as yourself.
Right, exactly.
And I would go out, like I do now, still here in Southern California, to different piano bars and clubs, and get up and sing as myself. And people would invariably always come up to me and say, "Do you know who you remind me of?"
Right.
Judy Garland. And I'd say, "Oh, well, should I do it for them or not?" And then I would say, "Oh, you really think I remind you of Judy?" Because I would be singing as myself.
right.
But there's just some essence or quality that people see in
Right.
me and equate me to her. I think it's because I'm an actress
Right.
and not a professionally trained singer.
Right.
I mean, there are 17 songs in my show, so it's not shy on music. But I can't read music, and neither could Judy Garland. I don't play any instruments. I've never had a voice lesson in my life. All of my training is in acting. And so I would then look at the person in the club and say, "You want to hear a Judy song? I think I could do one." And I would do full out Judy Garland and just blow them away.
Yeah.
But then after I would do that, they'd say, "Oh, sing Chicago, sing Swanee,
Right.
sing," and it would turn into a Judy Garland show.
So is this how your show was born, more or less?
Yeah,
or-
I wanted to finally like shut everybody in New York up and just do it, but do it properly.
Right.
You know, with makeup, wig. It's a book show. It has 40 pages of dialogue, and do it up real proper, as they say. And that's what we did. And that's why I did it originally.
So now that it's a proper Judy Garland show, are you sometimes a little scared that it may not come off like Judy Garland? Or people would say, "Oh, well, she doesn't sound like Judy Garland," where before they would say... That's
No,
great.
I
That's
sound
great.
more like Judy.
Right.
I've been told I
Well,
sound
see-
more like Judy than Judy when I'm doing it. And the comparison between my voice with my slight New York accent, I can pour it on a little bit heavier when I want to, and then speaking and affecting the voice as Judy in my show. Like, for instance, she would say, "Oh, Johnny, you look marvelous. It's a red shirt. It becomes you so. Where do you get your hair done?" And then when I come out after my show as myself and do my thank yous in my own voice, people are like, "That's what she sounds like?" No, because it's basically it's an acting piece,
But
like
you
I
know,
said before.
When I saw you, I thought you were so natural that even though you did the Judy impersonating, you sounded so natural, like it was you. I mean, to me, it was like, where's the line? And even when you spoke in between various songs, I mean, it was really
That
great.
might be in your case because you've never heard me sing
Right.
as myself.
Right, that's
and I
true.
do have an entire other act that I do as Julie Sheppard. This is just one piece as one character that I've brought forward and produced and developed. And it seems to be very popular. There seems to be, especially right now in Hollywood, a great resurgence of the demand for Judy. There are a lot of projects going on right now in the industry,
Really?
in and about and around Judy Garland.
So there's a lot of competition. Do you have a lot of competition?
I don't really know of anyone else who does it. I've heard of a few other ladies here and there, but no one does a show like mine, because most women who have ever done a tribute to Judy, even men who've done tributes to Judy, and let's be real, there have been a lot of those. Jim Bailey, for
Right,
instance,
right.
a brilliant, as far as I'm concerned, brilliant
right.
performer. He's impeccable in his mannerisms
Right.
and his movements for all of his characters, and he has Judy down. But in terms of competition, I really don't think there's any, because even Jim Bailey and these other ladies who I've heard about who do tributes get up and concertize. They just get up and sing one song
Right,
after
right,
another,
right,
after another,
right,
after.
right.
You might as well go home and put on a record of Judy
Right,
Garland. My show, you get
that's
much
why
more.
I loved your show. I mean, it had so much personality, plus your own personality. I mean, I felt like it came through. So you told me earlier that your husband wrote this show with you, or
My husband.
how did he get involved in it?
T.J. Wells. He's a stand-up comic and an actor, and he does himself many more than I, about 200 voices.
Oh God!
And when I started working on this project, I was tired of auditioning, basically, in New York. I felt like a professional auditioner. So another part of why I wrote this was that I decided if I was going to star in a show, I'd have to write it myself and produce it. So I did. And when I went to my husband with this, we'd been together at that time for about 6 years. We're going on 18 and still
very
together. He knew of my love of Judy. And like on birthdays and Christmas and Valentine's Day, he would like give me the program from her Carnegie Hall concert, or, you know, a beautiful portrait of her, or an old magazine with her in it. And I mean, he really knew how special my entire life she was to me. She was my favorite.
Yeah.
I just happened to be able to also sing like her, which is a remarkable blessing. So we did research for about 1.5 years.
So what did you do? You looked at her movies,
Yes.
you listened to her songs, and you looked at her movies some more, and you listened to her songs.
And I had access to tapes and the collection of John Fricke, who is the country's foremost Judy Garland collector, read old magazine articles, interviewed people who worked with her, loved her, lived with her, knew her. We got very deep into the
Really got
research of
deep
her
into it.
life.
Right, but God, it really paid off. How long did you say you've been doing this show now?
Well, the last time I did it was 12 years ago in New York in 1986. Another reason that we wrote, there's so many reasons we wrote this show, was because I couldn't get pregnant. So I said, I have to do something with my life, honey, so why don't we write the show? And then opening night of my show in New York, I conceived my son. We have now he'll be 11-year-old son. And opening night of the show, I got pregnant after the celebration party, and I ended up doing the show in New York into my 8th month. So he's been in and around this since his birth, since before that. And
Well, I know you have a clip.
oh, okay.
It's the, what is it, a medley, I think it is. Can you tell us a little bit about the clips before we run
The
it?
rhythm medley.
Rhythm medley, right.
This is a song that I intermittently take in and out of my show. This wasn't in the show the night you saw it.
No, I
the
don't
show
think so.
has interchangeable parts so that I can always keep it fresh. So if you come and see the show again, it might be slightly different that night.
Which is good.
And the
Right.
audience is slightly different, which makes the show
Right.
slightly different every time.
Makes you a different performer, too.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, well, we're ready.
Okay.
Let's get to it.
Got a little rhythm, a rhythm, a rhythm that pitter-pats through my brain. So darn persistent, the day isn't distant when it'll drive me insane. Comes in the morning without any warning and hangs around all day. I've got to sneak up to it someday and speak up to it. I hope it listens when I say. What do I say? I've got music, I've got my man who can ask for anything more. I got daisies in green pastures, I got my man who can ask for anything more. Old man trouble, I don't mind him, you won't find him around my door. I've got starlight, I've got sweet dreams, I've got my man who can ask for anything more, who can ask for anything more. Fascinating rhythm, you got me on the go. Fascinating rhythm, I'm on a quiver. What am I making? The neighbors wanna know. Why am I always shaking just like a flivver? All God's children got troubles for to push their blues away. Hey, all God's children got trouble, trouble fascinating rhythm, fascinating rhythm. I got rhythm of Manitoba. I got my gift. You won't find him hanging around my door. All got still and got rhythm. All got still and got swing. And who could ask for anything
What a show! I want to come to that one.
I was 7 months pregnant in that clip.
Oh God!
I
don't
really
tell me.
did it for that long.
Oh wow! You had some energy at that time. Terrific, terrific! I can't wait to see you again. To tell you the truth, and you have to, if I may request it. Now, talk about request. At the club. By the way, this is to the audience. If anyone wants to see Julie Sheppard doing Judy Garland in Night in the Life, please call the number at the end of the show. She is in quite a few local restaurants here in Los Angeles and pretty much all over. So give us a call because you really don't want to miss her. She is just terrific. Okay, now. Let's talk about Julie a little bit. Julie Sheppard. Someone said you were discovered by Steve Allen. Or-
Yes, I was.
Now there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
It was early in my
How did
career
that-
in the early 80s in New York. My husband, as I said, stand-up comic, saw an ad in the trade papers in Backstage. And it said, Steve Allen looking for singers who sing silly songs. And so he said, you have to go to this audition because I don't sing. And I said, why? And he said, well, Steve Allen is one of my idols, and I want you to shake his hand for me. So I said, I work until 4 o'clock in the morning in piano bars the night before this audition. I said, how am I going to get up at 10 a.m. to be there and ready to sing? He said, I don't care how you do it, you're doing it. So I told my piano player that night at work that this is what we were going to do. So the next morning we met. We went to the St. Regis Hotel in New York where they were holding the auditions, and it was what they call a cattle call, an open call.
Oh God, yes.
And there were approximately 750 other people there watching you audition.
I would have
So I
walked
dragged
out.
my piano player by the arm, and I go up to the desk and I said, I want to audition for Steve Allen. And they looked at her and they said, it's 10 o'clock. Are you joking? People who wanted to audition for Mr. Allen have been here since 6 a.m. signing up and lining up. And I was like, I can't audition, but I have to, my husband. You don't understand. And they said, no, I'm very sorry, but if you'd like, you can go inside and watch the audition.
Oh, no.
So I took my piano player and I said, oh, let's go see who's auditioning. So we went in there and we worked our way up through the crowd, and there was a panel there of very famous comedians with Steve Allen. And I'm looking at the back of his head going, oh my God, it's really him. Oh, I'm never going to get to meet him, but at least I can tell Tom I tried. So there were about 10 people online waiting to audition for Mr. Allen. These were the last 10 auditioners. And half of them on the line knew me.
Good.
Because I was a singing waitress for about 10 years in New York and kind of the diva of piano bars. And they were all like, oh, Julie Sheppard's here. Oh, are you going to sing that song? Because there was a song written for me. I'm not making this up. In an off-Broadway show that I did called Is There a Straight Man in the House? It was written by Mr. Rick Crome, and I did his off-Broadway show called Oh Fine. back in the early 80s, and everyone in New York knew me for this song, and it's a very funny, very off-color song. And he wanted singers of silly songs for this audition. And everybody wanted me to do it. But I said, I got here late, I don't have a number, I can't audition. And there was this one fella, Jack White, online, and he said, you can have my place. And he was like, next. So I just took my piano player and I said, we're next. And I said, we'll do it. And the other half of the people on the line who didn't know me just kind of looked and said, who's this one? And what does she think she's doing? But he gave up his space. It was his space, and he gave it to me. So I dragged him up on stage. We sang Is There a Straight Man in the House? And I got a call back, and 3 weeks later, I had the part in the show.
Oh my God.
And
Well,
for years after that, people recognized me on the streets from that open call and said, you're that girl who sang that song for Steve Allen.
I would do too. Okay, we are running with our time here. We have another clip. I think it's Happy Days.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything you want to tell us, or are we going
This
to?
clip is from the original show that I did in New York. But right now, my accompanist is Mr. Ron Snyder, and he performs this with me, and I may say, beautifully.
Okay.
So this is from the original production, but this is one of the numbers that you will see in my show.
Okay, let's listen.
Forget your troubles.
Happy days
Get
are
happy.
here again.
You better
The
change
skies
all your
above
cares away.
are clear again.
Shout hallelujah.
So let's sing a song of
Get happy.
cheer again.
We're heading towards the promised land. The sun is shining.
All together,
Come on, get
shout
happy.
now.
You better change
There's no one
all your
who
cares.
can
You're doing
doubt it
marvelous,
now.
marvelous.
So let's tell the world about it now.
Get ready
Happy
for
days
the
are here
promised
again.
We're heading across the river. Soon your cares will all be gone.
There'll be no more from now on.
From now on, forget your trouble.
Happy days
Come on, get
are
happy.
here
You
again.
better
The
change
skies
all your
above
cares away.
are clear
Just shout
again.
hallelujah.
So let's sing a
Come
song
on, get
of
happy.
Happy times,
Happy times,
happy nights,
happy nights,
happy days are here again.
God, what a great show. Anyway, Judy, when I saw your show, that was only that one time, there were quite a few celebrities in the room. Now, does that happen a lot, or?
It happens all the time. Judy Garland transcends generations. Everyone knows who she is. And we are in Hollywood, let's be real. And there are a lot of stars who are still, thank the good Lord, with us. Miss Ann Miller hosted my opening night
Oh,
when I
God.
first did this show last June to celebrate what would have been Judy's 75th birthday. Esther Williams, who worked with her at MGM, has come to my show. Melissa Manchester will be at my next show, who is a huge Judy Garland fan. Mickey Rooney is
God.
coming. There's always someone famous there. And a lot of the, what I call royalty from the MGM days
Oh,
have come
God.
to honor me. Steve Allen, of course, was there with the lovely Jane Meadows, and they were very close to her when she was filming her show here in Hollywood in the early 60s. Jane and Judy were at one time best friends. A lot of people aren't aware of that, and they used to go to a lot of her tapings of her show. And it was just a wonderful time period. And I think what, most of all, if you wanted to sum up what this show does, for people who knew her, like these celebrities, and want to recapture that moment, and for people like myself who never got to see Judy live, if you come to see my show, it gives you the feeling of what it might have been like to have stumbled upon Judy one night in a club and see something spontaneous and high energy and real and loving.
That particular evening, I felt that way because it had that cozy kind of attitude. Now we cannot smoke anymore, but that would have even been more so. Anyway, we have about a minute, and I would like to ask you, what is in your future? Will you do a Julie Sheppard performance, or will you go on with this and do more?
I'm always doing something as myself also. I perform my club act also around the country and here in California. I'm going to be concentrating, I think, more on my acting right now because of these upcoming projects and leaving myself, I think, available for that in LA right now. So there won't be too many out-of-town things that I'll work on at the moment.
Well, you're going to be very busy now. You just founded a production company, and so you're really going full motion.
Pink Sky Productions. My manager Denise Nickel and I just formed our own production company, and we will always be focusing on what I'm doing, of course. But there are some very talented people here that we have met in Los Angeles that we would like to see get recording contracts or given a break, and we're going to try to be instrumental in that too, because I like to see talent showcased well and made available to the public, because some of these kids are really brilliant. They really are.
Well, Julie, I must say this was a terrific show.
Oh.
I loved all the clips. It's like I was there again. Thank you so much, and you have to come on again.
I will.
And
you have to come back to the show again.
I will. I definitely will. With a
and I'll
people.
sing a song in German.
Okay.
We can get into that next time.
Okay. All right. And to our audience, first of all, I want to thank you all. And please, if you want to see Julie, she is at quite a few local clubs in the Los Angeles area right now. And as I said, she's all over the place. Call the number at the end of the show, and you'll have a terrific time. So don't miss out. And thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you'll be with us again very soon. Bye-bye.
I know.
Terrific show.
F sharp. How long can you do that? This could be any song, couldn't it? I feel so. It's a victorious, happy and glorious new spring. I feel a song, come on. It's a melody full of the laughter of children.